Hello, my name is Victor Cato. I'm a technical project manager at Gary Technologies, hired by Trimble Navigation. Today I'll be discussing ways to intuitively view and manage revisions and tasks, and basically sort of general activities that are happening within a project. So one of the things that I recognize is that on a typical project there might be hundreds, if not thousands, of different activities happening, some of them higher priority, some of them lower priority. Perhaps some tasks are scheduled to happen in the future, others have already happened in the past. And browsing or kind of getting visibility into what is happening can sometimes be challenging from the standpoint of looking at various lists, basically not very intuitive often. And so what I look to do is to kind of describe and then demonstrate a means of intuitively viewing and getting a sense of the activity that is happening within a project in a very glanceable fashion, in a very intuitive fashion. As the data repository that I'll be using for project content, we'll be using Trimble Connect. And on Trimble Connect, which is Trimble's cloud-based collaboration platform, we have a bit of sample data, including activities within a project, and also content such as 3D models. And so I'm going to just give a brief overview of Trimble Connect, and then we'll take a look at how we have kind of taken Trimble Connect as a data repository and added this additional kind of layer to it of interaction, of intuitive interaction. And so Trimble Connect itself is a cloud-based platform that allows us to create projects, kind of to define projects and then invite users into those projects to share information, to view information, whether that information is two-dimensional, such as say, paper documents, or three-dimensional, such as BIM model, or other types of information. We're seeing a couple of example projects here that are sort of comprised of a number of different users. And then, of course, within a project in Trimble Connect, we have our kind of traditional folder and file structure, very similar to the Windows Explorer, where users within the project can browse the content within the project. But then the key item that we'll be focusing on is the task list. And so in this case, what we're seeing within Trimble Connect for this particular project is a list of tasks of different priorities, whether lower in blue or higher priority in red, that are being currently worked on or have been worked on in the past. But from the standpoint of kind of intuitively getting a sense of everything that's going on within the project within a few seconds, kind of very glanceable, the list format is okay, but it requires one to kind of go into detail and reading through the list, which can be at times a bit long. So what I've done is I have created an interface. I'm going to just kind of refresh this here, and we're going to take a closer look at how this works. That allows us to browse tasks and activities within a project, and then when we browse those tasks, we're able to then kind of select individual items within the project. This particular integration is using the Leap Motion controller to navigate through the project, through the content. So I'll explain a bit of what we're seeing on the left-hand side as I move through the content here. What we're seeing are tasks within a project, the revision history of the project. Blue items down below are lower priority. Red items up above are higher priority. And the size of the items indicates the number of people working on a given task. The lines connecting different items can represent any kind of association between different tasks, whether we're talking about tasks that are related to the same kind of larger task within a project, or perhaps revisions of files that belong to the same kind of section of a building or floor of a building. So there's some flexibility as far as how the specific lines are created to indicate the association of different tasks. So kind of a note on the different components of this, again, as noted, we have the Leap Motion controller, where a note on the integration and the interaction, if I pinch with my fingers, this resets the navigation to the starting position. Moving my hand forward and up takes us into the future activities. I can pan to the side here. The in this case, the 3D interaction we're seeing on the left was created in JavaScript using the 3JS library, which is an open source library that allows us to, basically a WebGL library that allows us to create 3D environments, 2D environments as well. On the right-hand side, what we're seeing is one of the files that is kind of represented by one of these nodes. This is basically some of the work that has happened within this particular project. There is also the option of, as we're kind of viewing this, I'm going to zoom out here and kind of give a better sense of this. Maybe I'll kind of reset this here. And if I click on an item, what then happens is that we load that content into the viewer. So what we're actually seeing here, we're using the Trimble Connect API to create a live link between, in this case, our nodal map and each of the items within the project, within the content of the project. And this particular map is dynamically generated when we load the page and can be updated in real time. And so again, just to kind of recap, what we're looking at is an intuitive way to quickly glance from a project management standpoint specifically, the activity that's currently happening in a project and the priority of those activities within the project, whether it's high priority above or in red, with the redder colors being the higher priority, or the lower priority down below as I kind of pan down below, or the size of the task. In this case, the size that we're seeing here can represent either the number of people involved in a particular task, or it can represent the time duration of a task, or it can represent other factors of the task as well. For instance, this could also represent perhaps cost if we're talking about revisions that are being made. So a note on the right-hand side, additional note, we're using the API of Trimble Connect, which allows us to view, but then also, if I kind of go into this in a bit more detail, I'm able to inspect the content of the model using the web-based viewer. And this, of course, requires no desktop software to install beyond a browser. So although I'm doing this in OS 10, I could also be navigating this in Chromebook. But one of the benefits here is that we're able to view the content of the BIM models, but then also browse from an intuitive standpoint the current set of tasks within the project very quickly, and just by kind of bringing up a browser and going to the project and viewing it. So just to note on, say, typical scenarios that one might use this kind of interaction or interface with, I might need to know what are the high priority tasks coming up in the immediate future. So I would kind of log in, and then I would go out to pan up as I am right now, and then I would zoom in, and I would be able to then click on various objects as I've done with the prior object to very quickly get information about those latest tasks. Also, one of the benefits is that visually, I might be looking at the current activity in the project just to get a very quick kind of status update on what's happening. I might not necessarily be looking to sort of look at the details of any particular task. I might want to quickly see, are there any high priority items tomorrow? I could kind of sort of see that within a few seconds, and maybe there's other things that I'd be working on after that, but the interface allows for very quick kind of viewing. There's also the ability to kind of build out the interface further to include other functionality around the general theme of simple, intuitive, kind of glanceable interaction with otherwise complex data. And particularly within a project, as we're managing complexity, ironically, that only increases the necessity of a simple interface to view and quickly get an assessment of what is happening within the project.
Thank you very much.